Hi, and welcome back to another episode of AdTastic. I'm your host, Tony Stanall, and today we're talking to someone I've known for quite a long time now, Anthony Onesto. He's the Chief People Officer at Suzy. He's a podcaster and author. Welcome, Anthony.
Hey, Tony. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's get right into it. You wrote a book which I believe is super topical called The New Employee Contract, and I think there's a subtitle to that as well. But why don't you tell us a little about the contents of that book?
Sure. Happy to. Yeah, it's a very topical subject right now, and took the opportunity of working remotely to focus on something that I've always wanted to do, which was publish a book. So, excited to introduce the world to this concept. It's the new employee contract: how to find, keep, and elevate Gen Z talent. And the overarching message in the book is that this contract, this unwritten contract between employees and companies needs to be reviewed and rewritten. And so for decades, years ago, in the early part of the century, of 1900s, companies and employees had this unwritten rule: hey, I'm going to give you opportunity, and you're going to give me your sweat and labor. And we've kind of lost the script on that, mostly around the 70s and 80s, where we started to focus more on short-term earnings. And I think we need to reestablish that. And I talk a lot about that reestablishment or that contract in the book, but I then do it through the lens of this next generation coming into the workforce. And there's stats now that say Gen Z is going to make up 30 to 35% of the workforce in the next couple of years. And like the millennials who had come in, we weren't prepared. We weren't prepared for them. And this book is an opportunity to prepare companies, leaders, CEOs for this next generation that's already here and coming in the next few years.
So, what would you say are the top two or three things that an employer should know about a Gen Z employee?
So many things. Top two, I would say, is this generation was born digital, right? So this is iPhone had launched in 2007. So they know nothing of an offline world. This is, some of us, most of us in Gen X and a lot of folks in millennials know a world prior to the internet, and especially prior to mobile. And then 2007, Steve Jobs and his team said, here is a device that's going to change your life, and it has. So this generation knows nothing of offline. They know mobile. They also have a
Mhm.
very short attention span, so 8
Mm.
seconds of attention span. And the other main factor is they're gamers. Like most of this generation, and it's across gender identities, male, female. They are gamers, and so if you think about those two aspects, how we operate our companies from a recruiting, from an engagement, from a training perspective, is going to change.
Yeah, I know in my recruiting practice, communications have become way different with younger generations, particularly since I understand that maybe Gen X and millennials prefer to text rather than talk directly, on a phone call.
Yeah, I mean that's when we talk about the major impacts, absolutely. This generation, particularly in Gen Z, communicate very quickly, right? Text messaging, Snapchat. Even though we're starting to see Snapchat having some business challenges and projecting a layoff, this generation uses TikTok. It's quick content. It's quick chatting, Snapchat, quick sort of communications. And so part of it is not only preparing companies for this generation to come in, but also prepare this generation for how companies operate.
Great, sounds good. Well, tell us the name of your book again before we sign off, Anthony.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Tony, for the opportunity. It's the new employee contract: how to find, keep, and elevate Gen Z talent. You can find it on Amazon, in bookstores, and it just released on Kindle. No audio book yet, but that we're working on.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us, Anthony.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate your time.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of AdTastic. You could find out more about Anthony Onesto at dailyadbrief.com. See you next time.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.